Hey, and welcome to another beginner SEO lesson. In my last video, I showed you how to choose a primary keyword for whatever web page you're working on. It's a really common question I get, and it's a point of confusion for beginners. Well, this video is the exact follow-up to that. So once you've chosen your primary keyword, what are you supposed to do with it? We're looking at the example business I used in the previous video. Helen's Kitchen Cooking School. Now the primary keyword we ended up choosing was cooking classes in Natick, Massachusetts. And now we're going to talk about what are we supposed to do with that keyword, okay? And so what I basically did was I took the inspiration of this website and I built a couple of mock-ups of the top section of this homepage. So here's what you do with the primary keyword for SEO. You're going to do what I call the big four, okay? You're going to put it in the URL. If you don't know what that is, we're going to talk about it. You're going to put it in the title tag, same thing there. We're going to put it in the H1 headline, and we're also going to use it in the first paragraph. When you use it in these four areas, they kind of combine to send a really strong ranking signal. So anyone who searches for cooking classes in Natick, Mass, if you use that keyword in all four of these places, it's going to make it really easy for Google to match your document or your web page with that search term, okay? So let's look at URL. Okay, so I'm going to go back to Helen's example, and the URL is basically the address of the web page, and you can find that right here in Chrome. She doesn't actually use it in the URL, and if we go back to my mock-up example, I'm going to kind of show you what we have here. So here's my mock-up, and I don't use it either. And not to introduce an exception too early on into this lesson, but you have to use your discretion in every situation you're in when it comes to SEO. This is a home page, and her business is called Helen's Kitchen or Helen's Kitchen Cooking School. So that's going to be the URL of the home page. We can't really sneak a keyword in there. We would love to if we could, but in this case, I wouldn't do it. I would just let the homepage URL be the brand, okay? Now, if it was like a deeper page, like say this, that would work really well. So if it's any page other than the homepage, then you could probably sneak in a keyword, and it would look like this. It would say helenskitchen.com/cooking classes Natick, Mass. All right. So the URL is the first area you're going to consider, but if you're in a certain scenario where it doesn't make sense, it just doesn't fit, then don't worry about it, okay? Now, the next place we want to try to get the primary keyword is called the title tag, right? Now, the title tag is in the code of a web page. You can't actually see it when you're using Google Chrome and you open the web page. We're not going to dive into code because I want to keep this super simple. So I'm going to show you how you can see the title tag of a web page. All you have to do in any browser is just hover over the tab and wait. And what's going to pop up is the title tag. So you can see for the real website, it's Helen's Kitchen Cooking School. There's no keyword there. So let's go back to my example. This is what I would probably make the title tag. Cooking classes in Natick, Mass, and then what we call a pipe, Helen's Kitchen. I think that's perfect. And we've got our keyword in the first of the big four areas. If you're not sure how to update the title tag of your web page, I'll go over that in another video. If I go to do a Google search, cooking classes Natick, Mass, what's really cool is that the title tag of your web page is exactly what shows up in Google search. Okay, these are kind of like the blue links that people refer to. Mine's not blue because I clicked on it before. But if you remember, the title tag for Helen's Kitchen actual homepage is Helen's Kitchen Cooking School. You can see I'm hovering over it right here. And then if you look at the Google result in purple, it's the exact same thing. All right, so that's why it's such an important place to put your primary keyword. if someone searches for cooking classes Natick, Mass, and then they see that right here in your title tag, they're gonna say it's a perfect match. So it's not all about Google. Remember, we want people to see that perfect match as well. So URL and title tag, really important. Let's talk about the next of the big four, okay? And that's gonna be your H1 or your primary heading. Let's see what Helen's got right now. So we can scroll down a little bit. And this right here, it looks like the primary heading, and you can see no keyword. And this is really where my mockup comes into play, because what I would probably recommend she do is move to a more traditional header. And so let's go to my mockup, and this is version 1. And so I've got the primary keyword set as the H1, okay? And again, that's gonna send a really powerful signal. Here's again where we have to use some discretion. Maybe the client, if I was working with Helen, maybe she doesn't like that because she does wanna welcome people to her kitchen. Right now her H1, let's see what it was again. I think it's like, welcome to Helen's kitchen. So she might really like that. So we might have to compromise a little bit, but I just wanted to show you kind of the strongest example of using the primary keyword in the H1. So you could do that. There's other options though, like if I scroll down to a second example, what I'm doing here is I'm compromising. So I'm using the primary keyword in an area called the eyebrow because it's above the H1. So I'm sneaking it in there. And then I can have some warmer, more friendly copywriting as the actual H1. So again, SEO rules are there for you to consider, but you always have to use your own discretion. Think about the scenario you're in, and you have to come up with the best solution possible. And this is a good one. This would be you as an SEO showing good technique. You're getting the keyword signal in there, but you're working well with the client to accommodate what they would want as well. So, okay, we go for the URL if we can. Definitely try to get it in the title tag. Get it in the H1 if possible, but you might have to make a compromise, and I've given you one great option for that. And now let's talk about the fourth area. That's gonna be the first official paragraph of the page. Now you might say, isn't that this right here, the text under the H1? Okay, arguably yes, but again, I want to teach you these lessons and make you an SEO who creates pages tastefully. We've got a goal in mind here and we're trying to use the primary keyword. That is true, but we want to remain tasteful. We don't want the page to turn spammy, sound unnatural. We don't just want to stuff keywords everywhere and kind of ruin the copywriting and the experience for people. So what I would personally do is I would skip this and I'd go a little bit lower on the page, which you can see we've used the primary keyword there, okay? And I even did it in the second example. Let's see if it's worth showing. Yeah, it's a little bit of a different first paragraph, but we're gonna get it in there. Google is gonna get the point if you use the primary keyword in at least 2 out of these 4 areas. So now we know how to choose a primary keyword, we know how to use it, and in the next video, we're gonna talk about secondary keywords, how to choose them and how to use them. If you like the video, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and if you have any questions or you're in a scenario where you're not sure how to get the primary keyword into 1 or more of the big 4 areas, leave me a comment and we'll figure it out together. I'll see you in the next video.